Jobs are for losers. I'm sorry to tell you the truth. I know you probably have a job, or you're looking for a job, or you've been taught all the wrong things, and you've been taught that having a job is the most wonderful thing in the world. It's a big cycle of misery. See, your parents went to school, got a job, retired, and lived miserably ever after. All they did was sit around and complain about how the world works. And then they taught you how to go to school, get a job, and retire and live miserably ever after. And all you do is complain about how the world works. Well, I'm here to prove to you that there's only one reason you should ever have a job. Other than that, jobs are for losers. And I know this video might make a few people upset and you might get offended, but that's fine because I'm the infamous Joel and your boss hates me because I show you how to live a life of freedom, passion, and fulfillment. And if you're infamous too, make sure you subscribe to that channel. And as always, my buddy, the infamous Pikachu. Let's go. Now, since we got all that out of the way, let's get started. First thing you got to understand is having a long-term job is a losing game, okay? So that's why I named this video, Jobs Are for Losers. I'm sorry to tell you, but you have to understand, life is a game, and capitalism is a game, and it has rules, okay? It's just like the game of Monopoly. There are rules, and if you play that game by the wrong rules, if you think you can play by your own rules, or if you go by your parents' rules or society's rules, that's the losing game. A job is a losing game. And in this little presentation, I'm going to explain to you why. Now, before we even get started, I got to give credit where credit is due. And I got to tell you that most of the philosophy I'm going to show you here actually comes from a great entrepreneur and an author. He's wonderful. He's amazing. I've learned a lot from him. His name is Robert Kiyosaki. And the book is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So if you want more about this, then you need to go out and get that book and read it. It'll change your life and the way you think about how all money things work. All things related to money work. Okay. So let's get started. Here is the main problem. Okay. If you have an employee mindset, if you think job, 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 this is the main problem, okay? And later on, I'm going to reveal to you when I think a job is an okay or a good thing, okay? Any other time, a job is a bad idea, okay? You don't want to focus on jobs because when you focus on having a job, this is the mindset, okay? And as you see at the top, it says the 90% who make 10%, meaning 10% of the wealth, 10% of the distribution of cash flow in society, it goes to the 90% who are all employees, okay? Because here's the employee mindset. Now, understand this. You can have a rich mindset and have a job. You just need to understand that it's a job, okay? It is not like the end-all, be-all. Like most people with jobs have this poor mindset where they think the job is like the most important thing in the world. It's nothing, okay? So most people with jobs have this mindset where they focus on their job. They're like, oh, I love my job. I need a new job. I work this many hours. I need to work really hard so I can get a better paycheck and job, 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 job. Okay? So this is why you're poor, is you focus on this job, and the job is not meant for you to build wealth. You don't build wealth off a job. So you get a job, okay? You focus on it. You work really, really hard. Then you get income, okay? You get income from that job. You get a paycheck, 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever time frame you get a paycheck in. And then you slide all the way down here. And here's the major issue, okay? You slide all the way down here and you buy liabilities with the income that you get from this job, okay? Now, what is a liability, okay? What is a liability? A liability is all the things that you rack up in bills. It's, you know, some things are absolutely crucial. I understand that. Electric and water and all that good stuff. But some people buy like the most expensive phone with the highest plan and the most, you know, expensive cable package and finance all the dumbest things they can possibly finance, like TVs and dishwashers and stuff. And they spend all their income building up all these liabilities, which are any objects or bills or extra stuff that takes money out of your pocket, okay? It takes money out of your pocket. It makes you poorer. That's a liability. All this right here, by the way, is called a balance sheet. This is what a bank looks at when they look at your net worth, okay? So most people with a job, their net worth is in the negative. They don't realize it because they're bringing money in, they're bringing in income, so they think that their net worth is just fine, right? You ask anybody with a job, ask them what is their net worth. Most of them will not either not know, or they'll measure their net worth by their income from their job. They'll say, well, I'll make $1,000 a week. That's not your net worth. That's your income. Net worth is what you are worth after everything, after your liabilities are paid, after your expenses are paid, what debt do you owe, all those things. So most people, this is why they can't pay their credit card debt and stuff like that. Most people are in the negative. Their net worth is in the red. So they rack up all these liabilities, and then those are expenses, right? They have to pay for all those things, all those bills. They have to pay for all those debts. They have to pay for all those things that take money out of their pocket. Not to mention they have to pay for the expensive brand name clothes and stuff that they want to buy to impress all their friends and stuff, but none of that actually helps you. Those are just more expenses and more liabilities, okay? So all that money, you see the arrow here, right? All that money just leaves their pocket and it's gone forever. It's never coming back. Bye-bye. That's it. It's gone. And loop right back around to focusing on the job. Now they have this little hamster wheel mindset. They have to run on the hamster wheel. They have to make more money. Why? So they can get more income. So they can what? So they can buy more liabilities. So they can So they can spend money on those liabilities. So they can live this quote unquote comfortable lifestyle, and then all that money is just gone. It just spits out of the back, right? It's just gone forever. Now next week they come back to work and they're miserable. Okay, sad for days and months and years. Okay, and then they still, with all that being said, with the insanity of this horrible, terrible, miserable way of living, they still think that the job is the greatest thing in mankind. They will teach their kids to get a job. They will keep going for multiple generations. And it's this constant cycle of misery and depression, and life sucks, right? But here's the thing. This is how a rich person's balance sheet looks like. This is how rich people think. They don't focus on a job. You see where the focus is now? The focus is over here in the asset column of the balance sheet. Assets. They focus on building assets. What are assets? Assets are things that take time, okay? They take time, but they put money in your pocket. They don't take money out of your pocket. They're investments. They're assets. They grow. Real estate, right? Stocks and bonds, commodities, oil and gas and gold and silver, businesses. They buy into franchises. They build their own businesses from scratch. Things like that. Those are assets, okay? This is where rich people spend all their time focusing on. And you see up here how the paradigm has shifted. This is the 10% at the top of the totem pole, the 10% at the top of the ladder in society, right? Who make 90% of the income. They're not out there fighting for the little 10% of the crumbs left over. They're building up their assets. They're building up their net worth. They're building up their buying power, right? They have an insane amount of income coming in from their assets, right? Their income does not come from a job. Their income comes from assets, okay? That's where you need to focus from. That is the right and proper way to play the game. We're playing Monopoly here. You don't want to just keep walking past Boardwalk and pay somebody else for that space, right? You want to own Boardwalk. That's what you need to focus on. You need to focus on owning the properties. You need to focus on owning the businesses. You don't want to keep paying the electric company. You want to buy the electric company. You want to be somebody down here focusing on building your assets, building up your net worth, building up wealth. That's where you need to focus on. So they get this income, right? They get this income from their assets. And guess what they're doing with that income? They don't go out and buy liabilities again, right? They focus again on buying more assets. This compounds over time. It grows and grows and grows and grows to a massive scale, right? But from the beginning, their mindset is focused on this spot and this spot alone. How many more businesses can I buy? Okay, this business is making me some good money. How can I diversify? How can I take this money and invest in more things? How can I buy up more properties? How can I buy up more McDonald's and things? How can they want to spread that money around and buy up more assets? They want to grow and grow and grow. Okay, This is how you get a positive net worth. So when you see in the news, when you see on the Forbes list or whatever, when they say somebody's rich and their net worth is $10 billion or whatever, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about their assets far exceed their liabilities. They have very, very, very large assets, very, very high income assets. Okay. That is what that means. So if you're working a job right now, if you're in that job mentality, if you're broke and you're like trying to figure out what the hell am I doing wrong, this is what you're doing wrong, period. There is nothing else wrong. A job is a losing game. Long term, it will not help you. Long term, it will not help you. You cannot stay at a job your entire life and keep wondering what you're doing wrong. What you're doing wrong is the job. It is not meant for you to stay there and work till you're 60 and depend on a pension, break your back for somebody else. You are somebody else's asset. That's what's crazy. That's why the employee department is called human resources. That's you. You're the human resource.
You are a slave, Neo.
Okay? You do all the work for some boss somewhere to buy a Lamborghini. Okay? As you can see, this is the main difference, right? Now we can see the whole big picture. This is the cash flow of a rich person, and this is the cash flow of middle class or lower class person who's focusing on their job. You can see they're focusing on their job. They're getting their salary. They're swooping all the way down here, buying up liabilities, mortgages, car loans, credit card debt, school loans, whatever other loans and debts and rents and pays and bills and whatever else they've got going on. That's where all their money is going, okay? All their money is going straight to the stuff that they owe on. Then they pay their expenses, their taxes, their mortgage payment, their car payments, their credit card payments, their school loan payments, and all these other things. And all that money is just going to somebody else. They're just left with almost nothing at the end of the day. So they keep having this delusional mindset where they think, man, I better focus on getting either a better job or a raise at my job because I need more money to pay all this stuff. Okay? But what ends up happening is if you stay with this mentality, it doesn't fix the problem. A better job, more money, more pay, and all that other stuff doesn't fix the problem. All that ends up happening is you incur more liabilities, okay? You're making more money, right? Your income is higher, but now you still don't have the right mindset. You keep buying more liabilities. You keep paying for more stuff that you don't need, right? Gizmos and gadgets and pretty things. You don't need that stuff. You're just buying up more liabilities, making more expenses for yourself, and your net worth is still in the negative at the end of the day. So your real net worth is no different than somebody who's poor, like legit poor, who lives in the projects. You both have the same net worth because of all the money you're spending on all your liabilities. So this job poor people mindset, it's never going to be fixed just by changing the job part. Okay, you can't change the job part and expect for it to be any better. What you need to do is change to a rich person asset-based mindset. Okay, focus on the assets, not the job. So if you do have a job, okay, fine. But that's why I said it's not a long-term solution. That is a losing game long-term. If you have a job, switch that job salary and income to this part of your balance sheet. Assets. Whatever extra money you have at the end of the week, end of the month, whenever, put that money aside and start investing. Start building up your wealth. Start building up your businesses, your stocks, your bonds, your notes, your intellectual property, your real estate. Start putting money aside to actually leverage yourself out of a job so that you never need to have one ever again. And then you can teach these investment skills and these business skills and all entrepreneurship skills to your kids and their kids' kids and their kids' kids. You will have multiple generations who never have to work again. Okay? You're not thinking long term. So when you do this, when you build up your assets in your balance sheet and you buy up all these things, you put all your money into the future, right? What happens? You start getting income from rentals. You start getting income from the profits of your business. You start getting income from dividends, from the stocks and the bonds that you buy into. You start getting interest payments. You start getting royalties from all the intellectual properties, the copyrights, the licenses, and all the stuff that you are investing in. And that stuff becomes your main income. Now you don't have to work anymore. Okay. Now everybody's different and it depends on how smart you get. Okay. Educate yourself how smart you are with your money. Be smart with your money, obviously, right? And you start investing and building up assets. Now, eventually, you will get to a point where you do not have to work anymore. For some people, it'll happen in 5 years. For some people, it'll happen in 15 years. But don't worry about that. Start putting some money away. Start buying into some assets and building up your name. Actually put your name on something. Most people with jobs have nothing to their name except for liabilities like a car and a mortgage. Those things don't have real value. Those things just keep you, they just keep you in the debt race, the rat race. So, your income is capped. You can't grow a job. You can only grow a business. I want this to be the big aha moment for you. You can't grow a job. You can only grow a business. Okay? If you have a job, the mentality is like, I'll work harder so that my boss will throw me a bone. Maybe they'll give me a raise. Do not depend on somebody else for your income. Your boss may or may not. Who knows? Who cares? Right? Be in control of your own destiny. Be in control of your own income, your own wealth. And you do that by starting your own business. You call the shots. You depend on, you are the one who's making your own salary. Okay? You are the one who's making your own salary. So this is what 10 years at a job looks like. Let's keep playing the long game here, right? Let's keep playing the long game and assume that you're going to keep doing this for the rest of your life. So what happens, right? What happens, you might start this job at $10 an hour and you might work and think, oh man, I want to start making some more money. I hope they start giving me a raise. And then they come out and they say, hey, congratulations, Bob. You have worked so super hard and you deserve $1 raise. Here you go. Here's $11, right? And then you go, yeah, that's awesome. I got a dollar raise. Yay, I'm making more, right? I'm going to work and see if they go ahead and they give me another raise, right? And say, all right, Bob, you've done an excellent job. How about we give you another dollar? Now you're at $12 an hour. And you're thinking, yeah, this is so awesome. All right, this is great. I've made another dollar. Okay, so now you're at $12 an hour. And then you work. And now you become like a assistant manager or something, right? You've like moved up the corporate ladder, so to speak. And you've worked so hard and you feel so proud of yourself. So in 10 years, you're making $15 an hour now as this assistant manager. And you feel great.
Hi! I started on cleanup just like you guys. But now, see, I'm washing lettuce. Soon I'll be on fries, then the grill. A year or two, I make assistant manager. And that's where the big bucks start rolling in.
Just 2 years, eh?
And then you go home and you look at all the bills and all the liabilities that you brought into your life and you're thinking, what the hell am I doing wrong? I am still struggling. I'm struggling just as much now as I did when I was making $10 an hour. What am I doing wrong? I'm making more money. I have a better job, but I'm still broke all the time. What is going on? But I can buy the new iPhone at least, right? I can buy the fancy gizmos and gadgets that make me feel like I'm moving forward or moving up in society, but I'm not really doing anything. I still feel the same as I did when I was making 10. Now, I want you to think of this. 10 years later at this same job, you have increased your salary by 50%. That's it, right? 50%. You've put all this work in, and in 10 years, you have made 50% more gain in your income, okay? Now, there's a whole nother subject I can go into. It's going to take me forever to explain. It's called inflation. But, it's where the cost of living keeps rising. So you really are not making that much more. You're still just barely making ends meet. But that's a whole nother point. The point is you had the job mentality the entire time. So it didn't matter that you were making more money because you were going home and you were building up more liabilities, right? You were probably buying into more Netflix packages and more stuff to make you feel comfortable, make you feel like you were rich. You bought a better car with higher payments, because you felt like, hey, I'm making more money. I can enjoy my life a little bit more, right? But all it did was keep you broke. All it did was keep you in that same poor mindset. So this is what a rich mindset and a rich kind of business looks like, right? How a rich person would make income. And this is also why people quit in business and why people think business is so risky. So let's look at 10 years in business, right? In the very beginning, you can see the line is different, right? People are programmed from a job to get immediate results, right? They want to work and get a paycheck next week, work and get a paycheck next week, work and get a paycheck next week, right? But in business, it's a whole different world. You have to understand, you're building an asset. You are not working a job. You're building an asset. You're creating a company that will eventually have employees, will eventually have moving parts to it. So it does take time. Yes, it takes time. It takes some elbow grease. It takes some work. So in the beginning, it may feel like you're spinning your wheels. It may feel difficult because you're working to build something up. It is an asset, okay? So this is where most people quit in the very beginning. Now, this beginning is different for everybody. It might be 3 months, might be 6 months, might be a year. Who knows? When will you break even and profit will actually start coming in? Who knows? It all depends on your effort, what kind of business you're in, etc. Okay? But this beginning stage right here is why you always hear, oh, business is risky. So many businesses fail. It's not the business itself that's failing. It's the person quitting. They quit, okay? Because this beginning part is by far the hardest part. You're building something up, so it's difficult, and you don't see the immediate results that you want. So once you get past that stage, you might see a little bit of income. You might see some profit coming in. You say, hey, this is cool. Some profit is starting to come in. People are actually paying for my products or services, okay? Then, as time moves on, more people start paying. You start getting some more income coming in through the door, right? And then you look again and you're like, oh, now more people are coming in and paying. Now I'm getting some more customers here. This right here, this curve right here is called the exponential growth curve. There's going to come a time in your business where you're going to hit a curve that's so steep that it feels like it all comes raining down at the same time. All this income just explodes overnight, right? All this hard work that you put in adds up. And if you know anything about quantum physics, this is kind of like how quantum physics work. It's like all this momentum, and then it hits this curve, and then it just, boom, it just explodes. So overnight, it feels like, right? It feels like you hear like overnight success story and stuff. Trust me when I say there's no such thing. There was a lot of work before that got this person to that point when they could just wake up one morning and all of a sudden there's $50,000 in their account in one day. You know what I mean? So but it didn't happen that way. In reality, it was all this legwork that they put in first to build up their assets, to build up their business. Any YouTubers, Instagram influencers, anybody like that, anybody that you look up to or follow, their process was exactly the same. They put in the work initially and it was rough, but eventually they were able to hit this curve and that income started coming in. I started running my business about a year ago. And just now, I'm starting to hit this curve. Just now, the money is really starting to come in. And that's how it works, okay? And as you can see here, as it explodes and grows very quickly, right? It grows very, very quickly. And then right on the other side of that is, you know, this super rich, super millionaires, okay? But this part right here is by far the most difficult. We as human beings are not designed for this much pain and discomfort. So most people will quit, right? Most people will submit at this part. But if you can work through this, take the pain, take the disappointment, take the struggles, right? If you can do that, then on the other side of that is so much success, but you got to keep going, okay? And that's how a business works. Now, this is how a workplace works. Do you want to stay here? Do you want to stay here? Do you want to keep working? This is what a job looks like, right? Instead of working for the corporate ladder, create your own corporate ladder. Be this guy. Be the CEO, okay? Be this person. Be the CEO, because all you're really doing all the way down here as a worker, as you can see, hard-working employees, right? With virtually no chance of becoming the CEO. So you're going to be working super hard, right? Super hard for the people above you to make more money than you. And then they'll be working pretty hard to make the people above them make more money than them. And then they'll be working pretty hard to make the people above them more money than them. And then they'll be working really hard to make the people above them more money than them. And then they'll be working hard to make the CEO the most money possible. Okay? What does this look like to you? What is this shape like? This is a pyramid scheme, right? This is a pyramid scheme. Jobs are just pyramid schemes. You're breaking your back for eventually this CEO to be able to go on vacation. Everyone hates their boss, right? But they never stop and question, well, why do I hate my boss? Why does it feel like my boss is a jackass and I need to get the hell out of here? That's what they need to realize. I need to get the hell out of here. This is not a winning game. You are losing. They win, you lose. You got to get out of here. Okay? Now, you can set a plan in place to get out of there. Okay? And let's talk about that plan. I have it. It's called Infamous. Okay? That's the name of my company. Obviously, I'm the infamous Joel. Now, I can teach you how to get out of that system. Okay? This is why this logo looks this way. Notice the pyramid in the middle? That means I can see it, right? So you know, the pyramid can be seen, and it can be seen all over society, right? We can see how, you know, the very rich, the elite at the top, they keep everybody kind of at the bottom of this pyramid. They keep everybody's head buried in the sand with distractions, with stuff that they don't need, right? And they keep all of the success all to themselves, okay? So it can be seen. Now, you know, I have the bars because obviously I was in prison, but now you have to think, right? This is ambiguous. Have you noticed how the hands and the bars and the eye and everything can be kind of seen from two different points of view? You can either be looking inside the bars at the eye, or the eye can be looking at you inside the bars. So it's kind of this battle. Who's really in prison? Right? Who's really in prison? Because when I was in prison, I used to think to myself, now I'm in prison physically, right? But I used to look at the guards and say, but they're in prison mentally. They think that their job is the greatest thing in the world. And I think that most people who are in this job mindset, believe it or not, they're in prison. They have this mentality that they're not good enough to venture out on their own. So if you are ready to leave that job world, I have the perfect system for a beginner to start venturing off into the world of business and entrepreneurship. It is by far, in my opinion, the easiest business model for a beginner to get into. It has the lowest overhead. You can get some practice underneath you and start making some income today. It's not an overnight get-rich-quick scheme. I don't teach that kind of crap. So you want to click in the link in the description below and find out more about it. I'm the infamous Joel, and I'm out.